Visual aids are a useful way to illustrate what you're presenting. They also help show the audience what you're talking about. Whether using charts or graphs, video clips or bulleted lists, visual aids are an essential component to your speech.
There are a few things you need to remember when preparing your visual aid. Make sure to create visual aids that are large enough to be seen by the audience and the camera. If you're going to be using photos, charts, graphs, or statistics, make sure you enlarge them so they're big enough to be seen by the audience and the camera. Consider using PowerPoint presentations that can be viewed on a television or a large computer screen. Remember, an audience will have a difficult time seeing your PowerPoint presentation shown on your computer. Just connect a VGA cable from your laptop to your television and you'll have a visual aid large enough for the audience to see.
Do not create a visual aid that is only visible to the camera. Sometimes students create visual aids that are only large enough to be seen by the camera lens, like the size of a matchbook. In fact, your visual aid should be presented to the audience and not the camera. Remember, the camera is just a recording tool, so be sure your visual aid is large enough for everyone to see, including the camera.
You may also consider using object visual aids depending on the topic of your speech. Examples may include a book, a model car, or maybe a quilt. But remember, you shouldn't be passing these objects around the audience, so make sure they're large enough for the audience to see. Consider whether your object is really an effective visual aid. For example, if your topic is "Don't drive and talk," showing a cell phone as your visual aid is not effective because people know what a cell phone looks like. Instead, create a chart with startling statistics. If you use an object such as a book, make sure it actually visually reinforces what you're discussing. Just holding up a book for a moment is not effective. If your speech is about an author, showing a few of his or her books may be effective. You can be creative with your visual aids and use them to demonstrate techniques, such as this speech about football equipment and skills. Be sure you practice with your visual aids so you know exactly where to use them in your speech before presenting in front of your audience.
You can use sound clips to illustrate your point. For example, if you're doing a speech about birds and the different sounds they make, you might want to present a track of bird songs and identify them to your audience. But remember, sound clips are audio and they do not qualify as visual aids unless they're audio visual aids.
When delivering your speech and showing your visual aid, make sure to speak to your audience and not the camera. Presenting may be a little awkward since you're speaking in front of an audience and also you have a camera filming you. The camera may be hard to ignore, but just remember to focus on your audience.
Practice really does make perfect, so take the time to get comfortable with the materials and the technology you will be using.